Hi, this is Ronnie Atkins from Pretty Maids and Nordic Union, and you're listening to Sonic Perspectives.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another interview of Sonic Perspectives. Talking with us today is Ronnie Atkins, whom you might know from the Danish band Pretty Maids. He has a brand new album out with the band Nordic Union, and we're going to talk about this release and much more. So straight out of Denmark, Ronnie, how are you today, man?
I'm good, Rodrigo. I'm good. I mean, I'm sitting in Denmark here, and the weather is very depressing. But I mean, apart from that, I'm fine.
Well, I'm in Canada where the weather is just as depressing. But you know, let's lift things up and talk about your new album with the Nordic Union, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, congratulations on the new album, which came out officially about 3 days ago, more or less. And, well, it's a collaboration between you and Erik Martensson from W.E.T and Eclipse. How was the composition process for the new album?
Well, the composition process was a little bit like when we did the first Nordic Union album. It's basically Erik Martensson is writing the music, you know. I mean, he sends me an MP3 file, and I basically just go and record it. Of course, we talked before we did this album. We had a talk on the phone we talked about like trying to make it a bit different than the first album, and I think we did succeed in that. And so we just wanted to be slightly different instead of just totally copy of the first album. So I think I found this album a bit more, maybe a bit more moody, melancholic. I don't know, a little mature. Word actually, maybe it's it takes some of the songs takes a spin or two more than on the first album, which was maybe a bit easier accessible. I don't know, but I think it's a grower anyway. But I'm very happy about the new album. I think it's got some really good. I just heard it for the first time in a long time, like a couple of days ago when I actually had the vinyl copy and the CD copy. So I'm very happy with it. But you know, the recording process is basically Erik is a multi-instrumentalist, you know, and he's a very good singer as well. And a great songwriter. He's actually a songwriting machine. Mm-hmm. So, you know, so he just pump him out. So he just sent me an MP3 file, and I listened to it. I wrote half of the lyrics this time, I guess. And so I work on some lyrics, or if the lyrics are there, I just go and record it in the studio, which is like an hour from here, from where I live, with Jacob Hansen, who I've worked with for the last 7-8 years. And that's it. It's a very smooth process. It's very easy. The songs you hear on the album is the songs I had from Erik. I mean, I didn't have one bad song so far, either for this album or the first one. So it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I listened to only a handful of tracks from the first one, but I think it sounds fresher this time. It sounds more like a natural progression from the first one, and with more mature lyrics, like you said.
Well, yeah, that's how I see it, and. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with the first album. But it was just like we just talked about this time, you know, to make it slightly different, and I think it turned out to be that. So I'm happy with it. Sometimes it's hard for me to judge actually because I've been part of the process. So that's why it's always interesting to when you release something new, when you put something new out to get the immediate response from fans and critics, and you know.
Yeah.
So far it's been very positive. So I'm happy. I'm relieved.
And well, you and Erik came together as a suggestion of Frontiers president Serafino Perugino. How did that actually happen? Did he put you both in a room and said, you know, write me an album, or in other words, how did the two of you get connected?
No, actually, I was approached by Serafino, I think in 2014. And to begin to work on a different project with another producer songwriter, but I said from the beginning I don't want to take part in the songwriting because I don't want to mix things up with Pretty Maids, and I said and if I'm going to do anything, which I didn't have any plans at all about doing anything else but Pretty Maids actually at the time being, but I said that I've got to do, it's got to be songs of a certain quality, songs of a high standard. And what I received from that, the other producer, was 10, 11 songs that were just like kind of left-hand work. And I didn't want to put my name on that. So I told Serafino, and he agreed. So, and then he sent me a mail where he introduced Erik Martensson. Obviously, he'd spoken to him before that. Uh-huh. And just mentioned him and introduced the two of us to each other, and then I had like 2 songs from what I wrote. Well, let me see what you got, and he sent me 2 songs. Those 2 songs were a song called Hypocrisy and When Death Is Calling, which are 2 songs from the first album, right? And I just said. Yeah, I mean, I just said when I heard these songs, I said, "Wow!" That I was kind of blown away. I thought it was really good melodic rock songs. Mm-hmm. So that's why I actually as I said to begin with, I was a little reluctant. So that's why I committed myself to do this album, the first album, and that was basically it, because it was some kind of a pilot project, really, and I'd never done anything like that before, really.
Yeah, I think that Serafino gets a kick out of putting together different kinds of projects like that, because we've seen a lot of those on the Frontier Records. Like I spoke recently with Johnny Joeli, for example, and Craig Goldie, who are under the same label, and they're both involved in several projects like that. Do you think it's the way the label is run, or he just, as a music fan, does that kind of thing, or where does that come from?
Well, first of all, I think actually Serafino is a pretty passionate music fan,
Yeah.
And but also. It's a pretty smart idea, because you get like 2 fan groups, kind of, when you mix 2 people together, and to do something. So it's not a bad idea. But I haven't heard all of it, and I knew he'd done that for years before I did this Nordic Union thing. But to be honest, I never really heard it. And I didn't know anything. I heard about Eclipse because we played on some festivals with him in the past. And actually, I had met Erik Martensson before. Oh, okay. I just didn't know who he was or who it was. I knew he was the singer of Eclipse, but I didn't know him as such. We just said hi at a festival or something like that. So, so we just okay. Now I forgot. Actually, let's get what would you call? Yes, that was a good idea. Yeah. Well, I think if it works out fine, I think it's good, But I wouldn't do it for just to do it and make a fast buck. It's got to be good songs, and in this case, I think it is. So I can stand up behind it.
Yeah. Well, Erik played bass on the album too, and did an amazing job on the production because it's crisp and clear. It's like classical, but with a modern take. I don't know what it is, how to define it, but production-wise, he's a genius too, right?
Well, he as I said, he's like a multi-instrumentalist, and it's very. I think it's very easy for him to write songs. It comes very easy for him. It comes very naturally, and he's a great. I mean, he's a great guitarist, man. He plays some super riffs and great guitarist, great bass player. He plays keyboard, he plays everything. I mean, the only thing I think there's some guest guitarists, 2 or 3. I can't remember how many on the album. And then Magnus Ulstedt from the bass player, actually from Eclipse, plays the drums on this one and the first one.
Oh, okay.
Apart from that, I think Erik has done everything else, and then I've done the vocals, right? So that's about it.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask about Magnus too. Did he have any influence in the writing and recording process, or?
No, he didn't. Not as far as I'm concerned. Well, he don't get any credit. That I know. So okay. I guess he didn't. I think he was just called in actually pretty much in the end of the recording process, and he did spend a day or 2, did all the drums with Erik.
Yeah. Okay.
But he plays great. I mean, it's great drums. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And let's talk about one of the first singles, Because of Us. It's such a catchy song, and I only wish we still had proper music being played on the radio, especially here in North America, because that song and many others on the album deserve some radio play, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I've been thinking if these songs came out in the 80s, it would have been a totally different ballgame.
Yeah.
But well, it would. I mean. Yeah, I think absolutely. When I heard that song, that was actually one of the last songs that we did. And when I heard it first time, I just said right away, well, that could be a hit record, For some reason, I knew it probably wouldn't have any airplay. I don't know how much it's being played on radio, maybe in Sweden and stuff like that. But no, I can only agree. It's definitely a great song. Absolutely. Very catchy. Very good song. Very good song.
Well, in my mind, if this was a Toto song or a Journey song in the 80s, it would have been a huge hit here.
That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'm saying, I mean, back in the 80s when the kind of music we do is kind of a mainstream thing, you know. But these days, well, what do you hear on the radio? I mean, over here you hear the same thing over and over again, you know, whatever is popular at the moment. Right now, there's a lot of this. Well, there's been a lot of this. There's a lot of this urban kind of thing, you know, whatever it is, and rap and whatever, you know. No, but unfortunately, I think in Denmark here we got like one rock station that actually would play these songs, but I think that's about it.
Oh my God!
It's really, really tough to get on the radio, to get on mainstream radio here. I think generally in Europe, actually, for this kind of music.
Yeah, well, same here. But anyway, another favorite of mine is "Walk Me Through the Fire" with a chorus that's just as addictive as "Because of Us." And this one has also a killer guitar solo, right? What can you tell us about that one in particular?
I think actually, I think "Walk Me Through the Fire" was the very, very first song I actually had from Erik this time. It wasn't totally finished. But that was I think it was the very first thing I heard, and I liked it immediately because I think it was very typical Nordic Union. That there was some parallels to the first album there right away. So I mean, when I said I wanted to change, we would like to do a different album this time around. I didn't mean that it should be totally different. It's nice, it's recognizable, and I think "Walk Me Through the Fire" is that. It's a great song. I love that song as well, and it's one of my favorites on the album as well. But I think that one and "Breathtaking" and "My Fear and My Faith" and "It Burns," those were the four songs that I actually had a year ago. Like that. Those songs were the first songs we wrote, and the rest were done in the spring, actually.
Okay. Well, let's talk about "It Burns" for a minute, which is the one that you just mentioned. In that song, you address politics, particularly in the U.S., as can be seen in the video for the song. And I love the lyrics when you say "a Looney Tune in the high command." Did you write that part, and do you think Trump's presidency is as bad as people thought initially, or?
I wrote the lyrics, actually. I wrote the lyrics, like as I just said, it was one of the first songs. I think I wrote the majority of the lyrics a year ago. And that was when the whole... it must have been about the time when all the American and North Korean thing was happening, you know.
Oh, okay.
But it was pretty scary shit anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I like to write songs that have some kind of relevance, you know. You know, just what I get inspired from what's going on in the everyday world, what I see on television, and etc. You know. So I mean, I didn't really, and I do that in Pretty Maids as well. This is not written out of disrespect to Americans at all. I mean, it could have been about Vladimir Putin whatsoever. But I wrote the song because that's just what inspired me. I wrote it back then. I mean, listen, if I had to write the song now, I probably added another 10 or 15 verses to the song. You know? There's so much to write about. I mean, come on, this man is in the headlines every fucking day here in Europe, you know, for all stupid reasons, you know. I mean, every single word. I know some people got offended because I saw some remarks on YouTube. Somebody was offended by it on YouTube or wherever it was. Actually, also on Facebook, I think. But you know, I'm not trying to be political. I'm just. I mean, yeah, it's a political theme, but I'm not trying to be political in the sense that I choose side. Because I tell you, if Donald Trump was a Democrat, I would still think he was a joke out of this world, to be honest with you. And a joke, and that's not even a joke, because I mean he's a when I say a Looney Tune in the high command, you know, he's ahead of the biggest nuclear power in the world, and he is supposed to be the so-called leader of the free world, and at the same time he tried to suppress his own media, right? Yeah. And I mean, over here in Denmark, that could never happen. You know, we have the freedom of speech. You know, and it's like he's trying to suppress that. I don't know. I don't want to interfere in American politics. I just say how I see things, and I'm sure a lot of other Europeans look at Donald Trump. You know, it's not positive all the way. I think, as a matter of fact, I think he's a very bad image for America. I've got to say that. I've never seen anybody, speak so disrespectfully to other people, like an American president. I'm talking about American presidents or politicians. Just don't do that. It's crazy to see, and that actually going on.
Yeah,
it's surreal. It's awkward.
Yeah, well, without taking any political sides or anything, I love the way you put that sentiment in words in that song. I love that track, man.
Yeah, but I like it too. I mean, of course, the lyrics are sarcastic. They are,
for
but
sure.
they also, I mean them from the heart, because that's the way I look, and a lot of other people look, and not only in the Europeans. I'm sure I spoke to a lot of Americans. I have a lot of American friends, but A lot of people share my view,
Yeah.
but that's just I mean, this guy may have a good heart, I can't tell, but what he does is that with his whole the way the things he says, his rhetoric, is I would say dividing a country instead of uniting a country,
Yeah.
and maybe a country that was already a little bit divided,
Yeah.
I
No,
think that's sad to see. It's not fun to watch.
yeah, I definitely see your point, man. Definitely, yeah. And well, is there a way to compare the writing partnership between you and Erik versus you and Ken from the Pretty Maids, or can you trace a parallel between the two, or?
Well, it's a very big difference because me and Ken actually sit down together and write, with two guitars, and then we record what we get on iPhone. We also record separately, when we have ideas back home, and then once in a while we gather, sit together, and write songs, throw ideas at each other, and write something that just comes out of the blue. That's most of the best songs, that are written in 10, 15 minutes, like the core of the songs. Because I mean, Erik is like basically writing the songs, so I just got an MP3 file, and as I said, he has his Pro Tool system, and he plays all kinds of instruments. So I think he recorded more or less right away when he got an idea. We are very old school, me and Ken, and we don't know shit about all this technology. We're not good at it. I think we're a generation too late or something like that. Yeah, so that's the difference. There's a big difference, and I also want there to be a big difference. There should be a difference, because that's another reason why I said from the beginning I wasn't too keen on writing too much for this noise, because I don't want. It always sounds a bit like Pretty Maids in some songs, probably because of my voice, but I don't want it to be Pretty Maids. But then again, Erik Martensson was. When he grew up, he told me he was inspired by Pretty Maids, so was his band Eclipse, So of course it will sound a little like. I mean, we write in Pretty Maids, we write some of this kind of music as well. Probably maybe some more heavy stuff, but we always done songs like Face the World or Bullet or Little Drops of Heaven, which is kind of in the same thing, melodic hard rock, right?
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Well, and I'm also curious about the Pretty Maids plans for sure. Are you still active, still touring, and survived a million different trends that came and went, right?
Well, we've been more active the last 7, 8 years than we've been all our lives, I guess. Actually, ever since the 80's,
Oh, wow.
the 90's, because since we did the album called Pandemonium, we had like a second arising, and it's great. So we've been very productive. Actually, we did I think we've done 4 albums and a live album since 2010, and now we're actually working on a new album. Writing for a new album, but which will come out next year.
Oh, okay.
So we are very productive, and we've been more or less constantly touring on and off. And it's great because it seems like there's a new generation of fans that actually stepped on board. It's not just the old loyal people we see. I'm glad they're there still, but we also see a lot of younger people at our concerts, and that's fantastic.
Well, I saw an interview where we said the 90s were pretty tough on the band, and I get that from a lot of bands as well, many of which didn't survive that time. What would you say was your secret, or the Pretty Maids' secret, to go through that tough period and survive?
Yeah, it was tough for everybody. We suddenly played much smaller venues and stuff like that. But I think the major difference is that we, by coincidence, we did a song called "Please Don't Leave Me" back on the Syndicate album back in '92. It was recorded in '91. And the funny thing is that song wasn't even meant to be on the album. It was meant, we just did it for fun, to use it as a B-side or something for a single, as a bonus track. But then somebody from the record company heard the song, and he's like, "You out of your fucking minds, man? That song is going to go on the album, And it did, and it became a pretty huge hit. It's a huge hit in Denmark and a big hit in Japan as well, and was played in Germany as well. So that kind of saved our ass for a while, to be honest with, because we kept touring up through the 90s and up till the beginning of up till 2002, where we had a lot of problems. Our management went bankrupt and stuff like that, and there was some illness within the band and a lot of other shit, personal things. So we actually were on a hiatus until 2008, 9 or something like that. We did one album in 2006, but we didn't really tour with it. But we did like sporadic festivals and stuff like that. But I mean, as I said, like the last 7, 8 years since 2010, we've been on a roll again, and it's been amazing. It's been great.
Well, I actually see that there's a new, renewed interest in that kind of music as well. And I spoke with another Danish musician the other day, Michael Stutzer from Artillery, and
Hmm.
they actually broke up during that time and confirmed it was a very tough time for musicians that played more traditional forms of metal too. But now, it seems that there's a resurgence of that kind of music, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, but I think a lot of the bands from the '80s, and Artillery was a band from the '80s as well. Can
Hmm.
still people haven't forgot those albums we did back then. And the same goes for Pretty Nice. I mean, people still want to hear songs from Future World, Red on Heavy, Jump the Gun, and stuff like that. And but that said, yeah, I think it would be boring if you just kept touring with your own material. So I'm happy that we've been in a position to still being able to create new music and write good songs.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, it would have been a bit too boring. But it seems like this business is very much alive still. It definitely is, because when we tour, like especially usually the mother country for heavy metal, I would consider Germany.
Uh-huh.
If it was these days, I mean, if it wasn't for Germany all those years, I don't think there was a lot of bands that would have split up. I mean, there's such a loyal fan base down there, so it's amazing.
I,
But it's
yeah.
still here. Sweden as well. Sweden is a great rock country.
Hmm.
We play there more now than we did in many years and stuff like that. And even here in Denmark, there's a strong, loyal following for those who like this kind of music. And the people that like melodic hard rock and heavy metal, I would definitely consider some of the most faithful and loyal fans in the world. Do I sound like Joey DeMeo Manowar now?
Well,
Sorry, it wasn't intentional. No, but
well,
I'm serious. I mean it. I mean it.
yeah, well, I'm one of them, because I was born in the late 70s or mid to late 70s, and, I'm 44 years old. So I come from that area very much so, and I still
Hmm.
love that kind of music. So, you know, I have to agree with you, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's great. I mean,
Yeah.
and as I said, what is really fantastic is that it's not just that there's a lot of younger people, coming to the concerts as well, and who actually apparently picked up on the old '80s stuff and albums we did back then.
Oh, cool.
It is.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this year has been very intense for you guys. Like I said, you're still touring a lot, also working on a new album, but you suffered a blow to your head and had a seizure on stage this year. Are you okay now health-wise, or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I am. I'm fine now. You know what happened was that first they thought it was like a blood clot in the brain or a stroke or something like that.
Mm.
And then again, the day before, I fell and hit my head. So first, I actually thought it was a brain concussion. But the thing is that I had it just happened suddenly. I was backstage during the sound check in Switzerland, and everything was spinning around. I couldn't. Totally lost my balance. I started throwing up and had cold sweat like a going in a shower. It
Uh-huh.
was fucking horrible, and I couldn't stand up. I totally lost my balance, just like that.
Oh,
So
no.
it was a very, very scary experience. I was actually picked up. They called an ambulance, and I went straight to the hospital. Went into MR scanners and all kinds of stuff. And
Uh,
the doctors in Switzerland expected it to be something like a passing blood clot or whatever. Anyway, I got back to Denmark and went through the hospital system, hell of a lot here, but they never found the proof. There's supposed to be some white spots in your brain that could be seen if you had a blood clot. And they
mhm.
couldn't find that. I think it was a combination of much too little sleep, because I slept in average maybe 2.5 hours, and I have problems with sleeping.
Oh,
And we toured for 3 weeks and like 5, 6 gigs a week, and every day you had some kind of rock and roll lifestyle, not as wild as years ago, but I just got to remember I'm not 20 anymore. Now I'm in the mid 50s, right? So
yeah.
that was a little reminder. But you eat at different times a day. Some days you don't really get much to eat,
Yeah.
and you get a little alcohol every day, sometimes a lot. And my blood pressure was way over 200. I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know that. I
Oh,
never had problems with my blood pressure. So I think it was a combination of a lot of, and probably the fact that I hit my head as well. Yeah, I think it was a combination of a lot of different things.
hmm.
But so they put me on blood thinning medicine and cholesterol pills and what the fuck do I know, and of course blood pressure pills, and I was on that for a while, but then they started taking some of it away, and now I'm fine. I'm really good. I'm
Oh,
okay. So
glad to hear that. Yeah.
I think I just gotta change my lifestyle a little bit. Maybe get some sleep. Actually, the only medicine I got now is like sleeping medicine, because that's apparently it's a problem that runs in the family, because my three siblings suffer from the same.
Oh
Even
no.
when I'm back home here, I maybe sleep 4 hours a night, And if you sleep 5 hours a night, it's a good night. But you're supposed to sleep at least 6 or 7.
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
So if I haven't slept reasonable for 2 days, my doctor said take a pill on the third day and get some sleep. So that I do.
I see.
But it's in periods. Right now I'm pretty okay.
Okay.
With good sleeping, I'm fine in generally. Yeah.
Oh, glad to hear that, man. And well, I think you had plans for a DVD this year as well. Is that still gonna happen, or?
It is. We recorded the show in Germany, the Bang Your Head Festival, earlier this year. It wasn't the best day at the office, I gotta say. But we recorded. But what we're gonna do is that we're actually gonna play 2 shows in Tokyo next week, and
nice.
And we're probably going to record that. Well, we are doing some recordings down there, so we have something to pick from,
Oh,
But
cool.
there will be a live DVD at some point where we play the Future World album, and then some, right?
Awesome,
And
man.
but that was actually meant to be recorded on the European tour, the last gig of the European tour. But we had to cancel the last 3 shows
Because of your health issue, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why we set up the gig in the summer, Bang Your Head, and now we're going to do this. But before that DVD will come out, we're gonna do a new studio album. So that changed the plans a bit.
Okay.
So the DVD will most likely be out at some point in 2020.
Well, I've
Next
noticed.
year
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've noticed also, your set list is very varied too, because you mix the new material constantly with the old songs as well. How is that received with the old fan base?
I think it's but it's very. I mean, the more albums you do, the more difficult it becomes to make a set list. That's one thing. The other thing is that we don't always necessarily agree on what songs we want to play, but there are some songs we can't avoid playing. I'm not saying we want to avoid, but we just play for like 175 minutes or 2 hours a night, And songs from Red Hot and Heavy and songs from Red Hot and Heavy, Future World, and Jump, we have to play because people expect us to do that. Then there's a lot of albums we did in the 90s, but as we just talked about, that was a period of time when there's a lot of new fans that don't have much knowledge about these albums because they're not accessible. You can't get them. You can't get hold of them. So there's a big chance these albums will be released at some point. Right?
Oh yeah, I saw that on Facebook. You guys were asking, would they be interested in some of these albums being re-released or something like that?
Precisely.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. And they will at some point.
Oh.
So and then again, as I said, we did since the Pandemonium album came out, and people want to hear some stuff, the new stuff as well. So they want to hear stuff from Pandemonium, Motherland, Kingmaker, So we just try to combine this as much as we can, but we can't play. I think we've done 14 or 15 albums now. We can't play it all. So we try sometimes to do the rehearsal. We're going to do this week. We're going to do 2 days of rehearsals. And get some new songs, rehearse some new songs that we haven't played for ages. Because in Japan we got this request thing going on that people can request us to play songs that we haven't played in many years. And we got some new guys in the band who never played the songs before.
Oh.
So it'll take a little rehearsal, but then again it's also pretty cool sometimes to rehearse new material or even old songs, but rehearse them again so you kind of get out of your comfort zone, and you're not just on automatic pilot, so to speak. So we try to swap songs in between,
Well, what I find amazing about you in particular is that you're a rare case when it comes to singers, because your voice has changed, of course, over the years and evolved into something different than you did in the 80s, but you can still sing on a very high register, right? And you surely do the old material justice as well. How did you manage to accommodate the changes in your voice to the writing process and, to sing the old material now with your current voice, or?
Well, it's like 20 cigarettes a day and, a couple of beers, and you're good. No, actually quit smoking. I don't know, but let me put it this way. I think, of course, your voice changed. Changed with age. It does. I am so fortunate that I personally think I'm better off right now than I was 10 or 20 years ago, to be honest with you. I don't know what it is. I think it's a mental thing sometimes. But also the way we write today, songs, we maybe write in a different key than we used to be. If you listen to an album like Jump the Gun, I don't know why the hell I should be up there all the time. I already knew when we did that album that, hey, I'll be in trouble when I gotta
got to sing these songs live. And I already was back then, right? You know, because I mean, I never took singing lessons. There wasn't nobody where I lived that gave singing lessons back in the day. I probably should have. I don't know. So I'm a self-made man, you know, and I think I just I probably changed my technique. I got these two different techniques. When I'm singing with a clean voice, I'm singing in one way, and when I'm singing with the more, you know, the afterburner, you know, I'm kind of belting it out, you know. I just find ways. I have like two different techniques that I can swap. If I go cold in one of them, I switch to the other one. So, does that make sense? It sounds crazy, I know, but that's actually what I do.
Oh, cool.
I have like two tanks. You know? I don't know. And then if I'm getting tired in one of them, I switch to the other one.
Oh.
And then meanwhile, the other one take a rest. I go back to it.
Fair enough.
It might sound totally awkward to you, but it's a kind of like that's the only way I can explain it.
No, it makes sense.
But I'm happy. I'm still, but you know, because I know at some point it's going to change. But at some point, you know, with age, it'll probably worsen. That I think it happens to a lot of people. But I mean, then again, listen to Steven Tyler and Glenn Hughes. You know, they still got the pipes. You know.
Well, and Glenn in particular, he's a beast, man. Yeah.
Crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. It's a fantastic technique. I mean, that must be the answer to it. Or maybe it's in the genes. I don't know.
Maybe.
But amazing, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and all this time you've built quite a reputation in Europe and Japan with the Pretty Maids, but for some reason you never broke big in North America. Why would you say that it didn't happen? And is it something you guys still pursue and chase, or you're happy with the audience you have so far? Or?
I've had that question in every interview I did today, which is all these American people. But sure, I understand why you're asking, because you know I think it's a pain in the ass that we never been to America, and everybody in the band wants so much to go to America on a proper tour. I mean, we played these cruises, you know, with quite a lot of Americans. But we played the Prog Power Festival in Atlanta a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Actually, we're going to do it next year again. But we would love to go out, you know, on some kind of a package tour with 2 or 3 other bands, and get a chance to play for American fans, because I know we have a lot of American. Well, I don't know if we have a lot, but we have American fans, because a lot of people are writing us on the social medias, and we get a lot of it in our message boxes and stuff like that. And a couple of years ago, I toured with Fantasia, and we played in New York and Toronto actually, and Los Angeles. And I signed so many Pretty Maids CDs and vinyl from whatever it was. So I definitely know we have some kind of a following over there. It's one of our biggest wishes is to go there. Yeah. There are so many territories we'd like to go to. We've never been to Australia with Pretty Maids. We've never been to South America. Mm-hmm. We'd love to go all places, but it takes a promoter, you know, who believes in it. And there's a financial side to it, of course, as well, apparently, right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't, nobody in the band would expect to be millionaires by doing a club tour in America. But on the other hand, we don't want to take a bank loan over here.
Yeah.
To support it, right?
For sure.
You see, but I think it's weird we've never been. It's funny because, well, it's kind of awkward. Back in '87 when we did the Future World album, which was a huge success, of course, and it was also successful in America. We were playing on MTV with Future World and Love Games back. That was on heavy rotation, and we were actually asked by Whitesnake to go on a tour. The management of Whitesnake to go on a 3-week tour there, and they were super hot in '87, you know. But at the same time, we were committed to do tour Europe with Deep Purple and do these Monsters of Rock concerts, so we couldn't do it, so we had to decline on that all.
Oh,
but it's just a funny thought. Sometimes I can't stop thinking what would have happened if we went over there, you know, and jumped on the Whitesnake tour. We probably would have jumped on another tour after that or something like that. It would have been a slightly different situation, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I think the way I perceive it is you have a very faithful fan base here in North America, but how big it is, it's hard to grasp and hard to determine. So
I have no idea. I just know there are someone.
Yeah. Well, I'm one of them, so.
Yeah, that's good. So you'll be there, right? So now we have one.
I will definitely.
But seriously, I hope we can make it happen on this next album we're gonna do, which is we're still just writing for it, but as I said, it's going to be out next year in the fall. Mm-hmm. And I hope that in the aftermath of that album, that we finally will be able to do it maybe in 2020 or something. I seriously hope that. I know everybody in the band really want to do that.
Oh, fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. Well,
Absolutely.
I see you have already booked shows for 2019, like you said, and it's looking like a very busy year too for you guys. But any chance of Nordic Union play some shows too, or having a live debut of some kind, or?
No, there isn't, because I never agreed to do live shows with Nordic Union. The thing is that I've been so busy with Pretty Maids, and I'm doing this Advantasia tour next year as well, and it's like 2 or 3 months, you know. I simply do not. There won't be any time neither for me or for Erik to do this, to take this on the road for the next year. That's totally out of the question because of our other schedules. I'm not totally ruling out that there won't be a Nordic Union gig ever. But it might start off with some special event or something, a festival. I don't know. We haven't. There's nothing around the corner. I've got to say that because it's simply totally impossible time-wise. And our time frame is so booked now. I mean, my schedule is so booked for the next. And now we're going to tour actually with Depot. We're going to Japan next week, and then we got quite a lot of gigs in December in Europe, where we got to do some of the shows we cancelled, and then we've added quite a few. I think we got 12 or 15 gigs or something like that. And then we're going to we're going to start recording in February for the next Pretty Maids album. And I got the Advantasia, and then when the album comes out, we'll start touring again. So we can't fit it in. It's impossible. And it's not something you just do like that. I mean, it takes a lot of rehearsal if you want to go out with something live, you know. But I have more than enough by touring with Pretty Maids and this Advantasia thing as well. So it's not that I think it would be cool to play some of these songs. Absolutely, but I simply don't have time for it now. And I think Erik would say the same.
Yeah. Well, I hope to catch up with you, man, whether with Pretty Maids or Nordic Union at some point here in Toronto. So we'll keep an eye out for future days here. All right?
Absolutely, Rodrigo. Yeah. I hope we can make it happen one day. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time, man, and all the best with the new release and with the new Pretty Maids album and touring plans.
Thanks a lot, man. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
That's it, guys. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this interview with Ronnie Atkins of the Pretty Maids and Nordic Union. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast in order to get notified of all our interviews, as well as our Talking Perspectives podcasts. I also invite you to like us on Facebook and Twitter, and check us out on www.sonicperspectives.com. We'll leave you with the song It Burns from Nordic Union's new album, Second Coming. Take care and rock on.